Okay, we're here at the Korea Southeast Asia Gallery at the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force. We're going to do a little brief live riding tour. This is the A-1E Sky Raider, which was used during Vietnam and some other wars as a ground support aircraft to protect downed pilots waiting on rescue. This is an E model. Sorry for the close-up there. Right ahead of us is an F-100 Super Sabre. We're underneath the nose of a B-52 Stratofortress, and this is coming under the starboard of the right wing. This is a cockpit of a B-52 that you can actually go up inside and sit inside. This particular aircraft, which is an RF-101 Voodoo, came to the museum in 1979. It had a mechanical installed at my base in Meridian, Mississippi, the Naval Air Station, and I repaired it. R meaning that it was used for reconnaissance, and you can see the windows for the cameras and the nose and on the side. We're underneath the wing of the B-52. This is the drop tank for fuel, about a 1,000-gallon drop tank. Coming up on my right is a Martin Canberra, which is one of the first jet bombers that was actually from Canada. It was built under license from Martin. Above is the OV-1, which was an observation aircraft. And over here was an O-2, which is a civilian, was a Cessna Skymaster. Had two engines, a pusher prop on the back and a tractor prop on the front. That was the smallest aircraft I was qualified to work on of the 80 types that I worked on. So here you can see the Canberra. Coming up on the left is a OV-10 Bronco by Rockwell. These were built in Columbus, Ohio, and were used again for ground support. An A-37, we called it the Tweet. This was flown by the Air Force and also by the Marines, the OV-10 Bronco. Had two turboprops to carry a cannon or machine gun pod underneath as well as rockets. B-26 Counter Invader, which was based on the A-26 Marauder from World War II. This is an EC-121, which is based on the Super Constellation airliner, noted for its triple tail. A UH-1 Huey. Have an HH-3, Sikorsky HH-3 Jolly Green Giant. And this is the Black Maria, which was actually flown by the CIA. And one of the pilots who flew this aircraft on covert missions actually volunteers here once in a while and is available to answer questions about it. Up on the left is the C-123 called the Ranch Hand. These were used in Vietnam to spray Agent Orange to defoliate. And of course, if you know any Vietnam vets, you know that Agent Orange was not a good thing, but it was used to spray that. Straight ahead is the latest restoration, the A-1H Sky Raider, that just came back from restoration this week. They spent a lot of time working on her. Over here we have a MiG-17F, a Russian MiG-17. We have the Memphis Belle II. Another MiG over here. This is a MiG-21 fish bed, they called it. The Memphis Belle II is named in honor of the Memphis Belle B-17 that we have in the World War II gallery. And she was an F-105 Thunder Chief. Over top we have a Snark remote target drone and missile. An exhibit showing about North Vietnam, the Rolling Thunder. Actually, that wasn't a Snark, that was a Firebee. Here you can see the F-105. Colonel Robin Olds was a very famous fighter ace in the Vietnam War. He was known for taking down 2 MiGs on one mission, and this F-4C Phantom was the aircraft that he did it in. It's called SCAT-17. The first aircraft I touched in Navy Jet Mechanics School was an F-4 Phantom, a B model. This is one of the engines off the EC-121. It was a radar aircraft. You can see the dome on top there. These are various precision-guided weapons that were used in Southeast Asia. Over here is an armored personnel carrier, as well as various weapons. And this is an RB-66 that was used for reconnaissance. F-111 Aardvark was the first American swing-wing aircraft designed for ground following low-level fast attack. This is the tail gun of the B-52 Stratofortress, the engine of the RB-66, a sitting cockpit from an A-7, sitting right next to an A-7 Corsair, A-7 Delta model. And this is another F-105. It was used for electronic countermeasures known as Wild Weasel missions. They would locate enemy radars and then take them out with missiles to protect incoming bombing and strike missions. So if you get a chance to look up Wild Weasel, we'll go up under the bomb bay of the B-52. We're directly underneath it, and you can see the landing gear here. We have a pretty good crowd, so I'm trying to not run over anybody. So we'll go up underneath, and you can look up in the bomb bay of the B-52. Gives you an idea of the scale of it. And this on the floor is what it looked like with the bombs coming out. The uniform of the B-52 crew and pilot, right over here. This particular B-52 actually sustained a lot of battle damage on a mission, on the linebacker mission. Here's the port wing, and you can see a rack of bombs. These are 500-pounders. Nose view of the Wild Weasel 105. And again, the B-52 has 8 turbojet engines. They're still flying almost 100 years after their inception, and they are actually getting new engines. So I've got a group in front of me here that's taking pictures, so I don't want to get in their way. I'll just kind of do a pan here of the Wild Weasel exhibit. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate that. So like I say, I'm just kind of doing this. What we do is we do half-hour shifts. I just did a half hour on the information desk, and now I'll be patrolling for the next hour. Little piece over there, you can kind of freeze it if you want to, if I do it on replay, and see the Wild Weasel information. Trying to stay out of your way here. I'm actually doing a live on TikTok, so thank you.
Yeah, I got a question for you.
Yes.
On the B-52 bomber,
yes,
it carries how much fuel? Was it 30,000 gallons?
Well, fuel and aircraft, I'd have to look it up to be sure. Of course, fuel and aircraft is not measured in gallons, it's measured in pounds.
Okay.
And jet fuel, current jet fuel runs 6.8 pounds to the gallon.
Yeah, gallon, yeah.
And I would have to look up.
And this plane could fly how much? I think it was 6,000 miles.
6,000 miles without refueling, but it was capable of air-to-air refueling.
Yeah.
So.
I was here a month ago and I came back, but I didn't get to see everything. So.
Yeah.
I'm going to visit somebody, so I'm back.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Now we have a really good virtual tour on our website too.
Yeah.
which is nationalmuseum.af.mil. There's a really good virtual tour. And
of this whole place?
Of the whole place, yep.
It explains everything?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Then also there's a free app called Cockpit 360 that you can download that lets you see inside 116 of the aircraft, including the B-52.
What was that again? What?
Cockpit 360.
Cockpit 360? Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right, thanks.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
The company has rented out the center of the hall for their company Christmas party tonight. This is a Wright Model B Flyer replica hanging up here. And coming up is the only F-22 Raptor on static display anywhere in the world. Even the Smithsonian does not have one. There's a little bit over 200 of the Raptors that were built, and I wish they'd have built more of those instead of the F-35. It uses vectored thrust, and this is one of the engines that gives it its incomparable maneuverability. This was a test bed up above by Boeing called the Bird of Prey. We're coming around now into the Korea end of the gallery. We have one of the big early freighters based on the B-29. Open it up like that, and you can go up inside of this one. We have an F-80 Shooting Star over here on my left. As well as a good display on women in the military during the Korean War. I did actually work on Shooting Stars. That was one of my types. This shows how they would work on the engines on the on this aircraft. It's a C-124. We're coming up now on some more MiGs as well as the F-86 Sabre. The MiG-15, everybody was surprised when it showed up in Korea. F-86 Sabre jet on the left, MiG-15 on the right. And over here on my right is a RF-82 Twin Mustang night fighter. Looks really sharp in black, doesn't it? This is the F-82G. We have the F-82 in the Cold War gallery that actually holds the world's record for the longest non-stop flight by a piston engine fighter from LA to Honolulu non-stop. Over 5,000 miles in a piston engine fighter. A P-61 Black Widow over here on my left that was used again for ground support. So we have a lot of I've actually flew in the H-46. You're thinking of the Army Chinook. The Navy used the H-46, which was a smaller version of that twin-rotor helicopter called the Sea Knight. My first helicopter flight was in one of those, and I was a utility air crew on those. This shows forward tactical air control. They would be on the ground and would call in airstrikes. So radio jeeps. Then we've got the T6 Mosquito, which was a trainer. And he playing with a T as a trainer version. This is the only fuselage to the only B-29 propeller bomber that was a jet ace, flew 121 Korean War missions, dropped 250,000 pounds of bombs. Martin B-45C right up here above me, as well as another trainer aircraft, an early Sikorsky helicopter, and coming up is another SAR helicopter, SAR being search and rescue. And this was a lifeboat that they would actually drop from B-29s to rescue downed pilots in the water. Shows some of the Air Force Ground Water Navy, and they were designed actually to go out and rescue down pilots. This fuselage of this is a UH-19B Chickasaw by Sikorsky. Up over top we have a Global Hawk as well as a Predator drone over on the other side. This is the Global Hawk directly above us. And across the way there you'll see the Predator drone. We have many actual medals of honor here, as well as information on the recipients. Medal of Honor, of course, being the highest award that a military person can receive for valor. And this is a crawler that would have been taken in on cargo aircraft like you see to either move equipment or attach a blade and prepare runways in unapproved fields. And again, here we go, the C-124 Globemaster II. And we are back around to the center where the banquet's going to be. And these are simulators that are available that you can ride for a fee. This museum takes no taxpayer dollars, we're funded solely by donations. Here's a better view of the B-52 from across the way, and a better view of the bird of prey up above. So on that, I'm going to end this because I have to get back to another shift. I just wanted to kind of do a tour of that. Thank you, I appreciate that good news. Yes, I'm at Wright Pat, National Museum of the U.S. Air Force. nationalmuseum.af.mil is the website. Great virtual tour. Next month I will be in Building 3, which is the Cold War building. Hold on a second. No running, please. No running. Sorry, I had to use my petty officer voice. So, well, thank you for joining, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, comment and let me know, and I will be glad to do more of that. I will download this and repost it as a replay. Again, thanks for joining. Everybody have a great day. Stay safe. God bless and God save America.